Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed.
On Saturday, September 23rd from 2 to 8 p.m. at the Alkaline Oasis in Brooklyn, Baba Ashraf Kwesi and Mira Kwesi returns to Brooklyn, New York after 4 years. Get your early bird tickets right now by Texas 347-496-1022. Remember, they'll be teaching about the ancient history of Africa, Kemet, and also they're going to touch on Cleopatra. So get your tickets 347-496-1022.
Did you ever wonder if your birth date holds information about your destiny? Why you keep seeing the same number or several numbers? Welcome to Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated. I am your host, King Simon. Numbers are not here to control you, they're here to give you guidance. It's time for you to be able to read the numbers. It's the Numerovational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now. Hey, this is King Simon. Remember, make sure you go to my website, kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com or Linktree at King Simon the Numerovator. Get all 4 of my books, and of course, that's the Numerovation for Mental Stability. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Numbers are simple, children's health is important, and no promotion is bad promotion. Just spell my name right. Make sure you get them now on all my links. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. Go now. people think that this esoteric knowledge is for the rich and powerful, when in actuality, the so-called 85% has a spark in them that if it is sparked through numerology, astrology, motivation, whatever, it will raise them up from an 85%, maybe to a 10%, and eventually they become the 5%, the poor or prosperous righteous teachers. You gotta understand that this knowledge is not just for one class of people. We gotta get out of the class. Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What's up? What's up, people? What's up, people? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Your brother King Simon is in the building. Yeah, your brother's in the building this morning. I'm in New York City. I'm in New York City. I'm in New York City. New York City. Getting prepared for this Ashra Kwesi event in New York City. Doing some last minute promotion. Those that are going to be in New York City, September 23rd, come on out. We're going to have a good time with Baba Ashra Kwesi and Numerology Kwesi. It's going to be a historical event. They haven't been in town for 4 to 7 years. 4 years for Ashra Kwesi, 7 years for Numerology Kwesi. So we're going to have a wonderful time on the 23rd at our event at a place called the Alkaline Oasis. Very nice venue to hold different events. It's owned and operated by two brothers. One of the brothers is Mr. G. The other brother is Brother Marv. And it's the Alkaline Oasis is for those who like alkaline foods, who like alkaline drinks, who enjoyed the lifestyle that Dr. Sebi promoted, to keep a healthy disposition about yourself and your health. It is very important that we take care of our health, especially through the falls. That's coming into the fall season. Let things fall away and let them fall as they may. Let the dominoes fall as they may also. And it's good to be in New York. You know, the energy is turned up as usual. 9/11 was yesterday. And, it is very silly for people to think that these people don't practice their rituals. And rituals deal with a lot of metaphysics or things that's happening behind the scenes. So everything done yesterday in regards to celebrating the 22nd year of the tumbling or the falling of the World Trade. That the World Trade Center looks like the number 11 when you look at it, like a doorway, like it was a vortex that was open and it was supposed to go down. And condolences to all of the families that are still healing from what happened in 9/11 yesterday, 22 years ago. 22 is a very significant number because we know that it's a master number. Those that follow me and those that study at least the basis of numerology. But it's not just a master number. It's not just a master number of what we call the master builder. It's the master number of global reach. So people that have master numbers in their chart, they are supposed to work towards reaching a global status in life. But on the other side of the 22, it can come with a lot of delusion and a lot of illusions on the shadow side. And if you don't pay attention when you're in a 22-year cycle or 22 age, or when the 22 shows up in any part of the month, you have to really check yourself when 22 shows up, because 22 is a master number that comes with a lot of responsibility. So yesterday being the 22nd anniversary of the World Trade Center. And of course, the World Trade looking like the number 11. When you look at those two buildings from afar, like if you're on a bridge or you're looking across the bridge or you're watching it, it looks like the number 11, two erected buildings that look like the number 11. So it's interesting because 11 is one of the numbers on its negative, is the number of deception. It's the number of treachery. It's the number of not just physical deception and treachery, but also spiritual treachery and deception. And still, because we're in the Jason months, those that are new to my channel or new to what we call the metaphysics, the Jason months is July, August, September, November, and December. So, and these are the months of sacrifice, whether you're sacrificing things to better your health, whether you're sacrificing letting go of people, whether you're sacrificing letting go of a bad habit. These are the months of sacrifice. But they also practice their sacrifices too in the society. The society practice rituals, metaphysical rituals. Everything that's done in the government is done for a reason. Let me say that again. Everything that's done in the government is done for a reason. So you got to pay close attention to not what they're doing per se, but what you are doing for yourself. Are you aligning yourself to be a better person, to be more prepared, not just spiritually, but also physically, to counter whatever they are putting out? Because yesterday was a big ritual. So like I said before, September, October, November, and December are the sneak peek months to what's to come in the next year. So when you see rituals like that, know behind the scenes, although you're seeing everybody recite names and they're pulling everybody's emotion, when you pull people's emotion together, that's when you start to do the magic. And yes, the government does the magic. And I respect people that believe in the science and all that kind of stuff, the science of this and the science of that. But there is a metaphysical science. There is things that are being conducted behind the scenes, because that's how they keep their world strong. So when you, like it says in their scriptures, it says when two or more are gathered, that's where the creator is. That's where the creator should be. You had more than two or more. So when you have thousands of people and everybody over television and radio, and they're playing it on every channel. Note that they're playing it on every channel. They're galvanizing all of the energy from the people also. So when two or more are gathered, but think about it, not just two or more was gathered yesterday. It's 2 million or more that was gathered throughout the whole United States. So when you have 2 million or more gathered, imagine what type of energy they're using through media and through other means to get what they want done, to make sure that they are successful in the next coming 50 to 100 years, because they're going to continue with those rituals. Because and it's silly for us to think that this society don't understand ancestral acknowledgement and ancestral worship. Because when you go to certain parks, you see statues of their ancestors. What do you see? You go to Grant Park, you see Robert Lee Grant. If you go to George Washington Park, you see George Washington statue. You go to Washington, D.C., you see Abraham Lincoln statues. They believe in ancestral acknowledgement, and they got that science from us to understand how to put the physical and the spiritual together to make it work for you. So whatever spiritual system you're doing, you have to make it work for you. You have to make it work for you. And a lot of this stuff goes back from what they learned. Because, a lot of people might call certain things the white man science, the white man this, but you got to remember these people studied other people to get to where they are. They've taken bits and pieces of different cultures, different languages to get to where they are. And that's what I always say. Take what you need for yourself to make you better. And that's what they've done. To build America, to build England, to build any European province or country, they took bits and pieces of different cultures to make themselves better. They recognize all the superpowers. They look at all the superpowers and they use every one of those superpowers. Do not be naive. So we have to learn to use our superpowers. And yes, in my book, Numerology for Mental Stability, I talk about the superpowers of every number from 1 to 31 or from 1 to 9. I talk about everybody's potential superpower, which, you might take it as flying and the flying and all that kind of stuff that's been exaggerated on television is different, although it has been done in certain ancient technology. When it comes to people that have been dumbed down, and the more they try to dumb you down, they don't realize that the more they're dumbing us down or trying to dumb us down, the superpower gets even more powerful to want to come out and show itself. So your superpower might be music. Your superpower might be singing. I mean, look at the X-Men. Look at the X-Men. One of the X-Men or one of the mutants, they was able to scream loud. So that's a form of using one of your throat chakra. So your superpower might be able to, might be using your throat chakra. The superpower might be using the throat chakra. You know what I'm saying? And people don't realize that when you use those throat chakras, we gotta be willing to rise above it. Some people, our superpowers is to use our legs to do certain movement. And sometimes in martial arts, you learn to use your legs and use your strength and use all of that. So it's very important that you realize that, if you learn to use all of those things, and some people's superpower is kindness. Some people's superpower is reflection. Some people's superpower is psychic and intuition. So find out what your superpower is. Find out what your superpower is and be willing to develop that superpower. I talk about the superpower of the 1 all the way through the 9. I talk about the superpower from the 1 all the way to the 9. And it's important that we all learn to identify our superpower. Some people have 20/20 vision or 10/10 vision. That's a form of being, and not just physical. It's also spiritual, because the people that might have 10/10 vision in the spiritual realm have an acute way of seeing through people or seeing what they're all about. You see people who want to create contentions and arguments and wants to move the conversation when they try to do certain things. Sometimes even trolls have a superpower. They have a mental illness to want to see contentions and arguments and blast and do certain foolishness. Superpower could be the gift of gab. Many of our leaders and teachers and people out there have the gift of gab. And that's a superpower, but it's how you use this superpower. And if you don't use it appropriately, then of course, that could be a problem. If you don't use it appropriately, that can be a problem, So yesterday was a big ritual. We got to learn to recognize our own rituals and learn how to use certain things to accomplish our great acts. Let me see, something's going on with my phone here. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah. So we got to learn to use our superpowers. Some of our superpowers is taking care of children. Some people know how to pull children towards them and take care of them in a way that some other people don't. Some people know how to make you laugh. That's a superpower, to be able to trigger, to make a whole room of people laugh. So you have to commend the comedian that can command the room. You got to commend the guitar player that can command the room. You got to commend the singer that commands the room. You got to commend the speakers that can command the room, because that is a superpower. And if you're willing to use your superpower to take it, my mother know how to. She has a green thumb. My mother has a green thumb. I've showed you the garden before. I'm here at my mother's house. She has a green thumb. And I recall one time she had went away for like a week or two, and she told me to take care of her plants. And I was living and I had to live somewhere else, and I had to come back and forth to take care of her plants. And one of the plants, it appeared like it died. One of the plants appeared like it had died. And because I know how, and this I was younger, I knew how important my mother's plants was. I started to cry because I seen her plant die. It appeared. But when she came back, she looked at me. She said, "Oh no, you put too much water in it." And the plant kind of like went into seclusion, but it looked like it was about to die. She just did something with the soil. My mother just touched the soil and did what she did with the soil, and sure enough, the plant came back to life, and the plant started blooming again. But some people have that superpower. So recognize your superpower. And in my book, I touch on it, but there's so much more. When people do sessions with me, and there's so much more when people call me and say, my life path, because people think that their life path is the only number that dictates their life because of the title, the life path. It's a title that somebody gave to it. Some people call it a destiny number. Some people call it the school of life, that this number follows you throughout the school of life, but it's not the most important number. All of them are important factors. It's just which one of you are willing to cultivate each one at particular time or when you need it. There is a numerologist back in the day, back in the 60s, the 50s and the 60s, named Dr. Matrix. And I'm reading his biography right now. A guy used to follow him around and write about him. I think his name is Gardner, Marvin Gardner. I think he used to follow him around or follow him and go to. And this guy, Dr. Matrix, he is, back in those days, was considered the greatest numerology in the world, greatest numerologist in the world. And he not only used add and subtraction, but he used algebra, and he used different forms of mathematics to get to where he wanted to get with the numbers. So every time he used to go to do business in a certain state, he would change the frequency of his name so it can match the state that he was going to. Let me say, his real name is Dr. Matrix. His last name was Matrix. I think he took on that last name, but I haven't read I haven't finished reading it yet. Right now I'm reading I'm reading one of the books called The Incredible Dr. Matrix. And it's like a novel, but it's based on his life. But every city he did business in for a certain amount of time, he changed the frequency of his name so his name can resonate with that city, so he can pull the energy of that city. Very interesting concept. That's why when people ask me, or you might ask Lloyd, for what's the best city to live in, I always tell you to choose from your spirit. I always want you to go, because I can go into Lloyd's book and go into this book and pull out different states and different countries. But I always tell people, I want you to choose 3 states that you are considering out of your own spirit, out of your own thoughts, out of your own heart. And then let me do the numbers to it. Then I'll show you how it correlates with either your name or your birthday. that's how it can work better from my perspective. Not just, what Lloyd did in his book. He gave the states that resonated with 1 all the way through 9. And that's good because Atlanta resonated with 1. So boom, King Simon is down in Atlanta. New York resonated with 1. And I've done well in New York. If I went to Houston, Houston resonates with 1. And I can, because I'm born on the 1st of the month. So when you understand the mathematics of each city, both from the Pythagorean and the Chaldean, but myself and Lloyd use the Chaldean, but Lloyd, when it comes to words and states and names, he'll use the Chaldean, but I want to use all of it. I want to see it all. That's why I'll use the Pythagorean also, and I'll use the Chaldean, and whatever energy is the strongest, although the Chaldean is a more mystical and reveals a little bit more deeper about your connection to that city. It shows if you have a lot of the numbers connected to that city in your name or your birthday, then we can make a mathematical comparison to show you that yes, that city will be good for you. But you got to remember, wherever you go, you still have to put in your work. You still have to put in your work. Like a friend of mine's moved down to Georgia. She moved down to Georgia probably a couple years ago, and she left Georgia to move to Colorado. But she's born on the 6th. Atlanta does not resonate with the number 6, although that the number 6 can make it down there. See, in order for her to have offset that, she would have to have moved into a town that resonates with the number 6, and that 6 would be more supportive of her. Like, she probably would have done better in Stone Mountain because her power numbers is the 6, 5, and 3. According to the science. So Stone Mountain adds up to a number 3 in one aspect of numerology. So she got tired of it and she said, you know what? Nothing went good in Atlanta while she was out there, while she was out in Georgia. So she moved to Colorado. Soon she submitted a paperwork to Colorado on the job and all that kind of stuff. And interesting enough, Colorado resonates with one of her numbers. So that was very interesting. So I start looking at those patterns and cycles and sequences where people might think it's psychic and all that and fortune, but no, it's not. It's not pseudo anything. It's recognizing patterns, cycles, and sequences of numbers and places and things that you're connected to. Words that you might constantly use. Religious organization that you might connect to might have a resonant energy dealing with the mathematics connected to you. So if you learn to look at that from a perspective and recognize the importance of using it, then it will be very helpful, especially when you're making moves. If you're going to make moves to different states and countries, I definitely suggest you find out the birth date of that state or that country. The birth date, the ones that they put on paper, and or the numbers of that state or country. I definitely, if you're going to make a move in your life, and a lot of people like to move from one place to another, look for the numbers in every country. How many, what that particular place adds up to, and see if it supports either your birthday, your life path, your personal number, or your name that you're connected to, because every one of your names has a connection to the mathematics, to the numbers. So that's why I tell people I don't read numbers. I interpret the numbers from constant studies and watching the repetitiveness and the repetition and watching it and observing it over time. And then I'm able to come with something that can be tangible to help people move forward and do what they had to do. There's an individual that be on YouTube that he likes to talk about against this type of stuff and all that kind of stuff. And hey, whatever you believe in, that's cool. But when I found out his birthday, I said, oh, he does exactly what his birthday says. His alignment numbers are 9. He's born on the 25th. Alignment numbers are 9. 9 is a number of argument, military, more than likely military or any kind of organization. And he did join an organization at one time. He was in the military at one time, especially in the early part, because when you have an alignment number or a pinnacle number or an achievement number at that point on the beginning part of your chart, more than likely you was interested in the military, or you joined organizations or joined spiritual organizations or whatever. And he did do such a thing. So it's very important that when you recognize people's numbers and you recognize how to apply those different numbers and use them in connection to what you've done from your early points of your life to the midway point of your life to the last point of your life, it helps you to navigate. What's up, JP? It helps you to navigate what you're going through and what you need to, how to navigate. And it's not always for the best. Sometimes if you choose, you could be in a challenge cycle of your numbers, and it could be challenging you. Sometimes it challenges you. And sometimes some people want to avoid challenges, but when challenges appear, they're either going to challenge you to be your best or your worst. It just depends on how you handle the challenge. It just depends on how you handle the challenge. And if you're willing to handle the challenge with grace and peace, then of course, you would overcome the challenge. You overcome the challenge. Yes, I got the original Toikaru, which is now called the Ripstick. This is the original one from one of the brother who invented it back in the day, Toikaru. It was called Toikaru. Now it was an actual martial arts development system that this brother used back in the day. So again, rituals that America does and that you do in your life. Brushing your teeth is a ritual. Let me say that again. Brushing your teeth, washing your face is something that's done repetitiously, ritualistically every day. That's a form of a ritual. That's a ritual. We've made breakfast, lunch, and dinner a ritual. We made that a ritual. But yesterday was a mass ritual to continue to use that vortex. Continue to use that vortex of the people who transition. And again, respect to everybody that lost somebody. I knew somebody that was that passed on. I think I knew 2 people, but I definitely knew one from one of the comedians, Dogface. Big up to Dogface, may he rest in peace. He was also in that building. I know JP, the comedian, would know who Dogface was. He was one of the comedians from back in New York days. From back in the day, I remember him. And there was a sister named, I think, Cynthia Williams, another friend of a friend of mine who also passed on the World Trade. And I didn't come on live to talk about that. It was just more understanding the rituals that we need to do for our own self in order. And if you don't understand what a ritual is, go Google it. Go Google what a ritual is and ask yourself, are you doing success rituals every day? Are you practicing success rituals and affirmations and putting out certain things that's going to keep you in steady stride, being prepared for whatever is being thrown out there, because that was a ritual that opens the vortex and open another portal to bring something in. But those that understand will know how to navigate and use what it is, because right now we're still in what we call the Jason months. And if you want to look up and Google up the Jason scientists, go look up what the Jason scientists was doing and what was they paying attention to for the algorithms of the future. So anything that was done, anything that's done in this government is not by coincidence. Anything that's done in governments and major structures and major societies that's ruled by certain people that are into rituals and magic and superpowers, it was definitely for a reason why they continue to do that, and why they continue to have the emotions of people come together on that particular day, September 11th. Because, like I said, according to their scriptures, when two or more are gathered, that's where the Creator is. That's where God is. Now, which God that they're trying to pull up, that's up to them. Everybody else might be doing it from the wholeness of their heart, but they don't realize how to work energy like America knows how to work energy. Especially the Europeans of this world. They know how to work energy. When you see inaugurations, that's a whole ritualistic thing. The whole setup, the march, the band, the dress code, everything is ritualistic. Everything. When you go to England and you see all those somebody being crowned a king or queen, it's all rituals. Because they're opening the way for the energy to be prosperous so they can stay in power. All of it is rituals. It's all magic. It's all science, magic. Remember, Paracelsus, the philosopher, wrote a book From Magic to Science because magic was once science. Science was once magic. Go get the book. It's an old book. It's called From Magic to Science, the story of Paracelsus. Very good book because it gives you an account of how the word magic from magi transformed into science, from synesthesia to science. It's a language change, but also they had to change it to separate themselves from the metaphysics and the unknown science behind it. So they had to make things tangible. Because this apparatus that I use to do my strength and workout and all that kind of stuff, that was created by a brother named Professor Marvin Gatman. Green Beret. Used to take pictures on 125th all the time. Loud, strong voice. This was in the metaphysics of his mind, and then all he did was take two fiberglass materials and some rubber bands and created a revolutionary workout tool that you can take anywhere in the world and do some form of isometrics. So this is an isometrics workout. It's an isometrics workout. And he has over 200 to 300 positions to work out. So everything starts in the spirit realm first. It starts in the thought first. Everything is thought. Everything is the thought. The shirt is the thought. I was a thought. You was a thought. The phone we're using is a thought. The computer was a thought first. It was an ideal first. So anything that this government and this society does, there's an ideal behind it. There's a thought behind it. And then they do the rituals to make it manifest. There's a ritual to make things and inventions manifest. That's why they have a blueprint laid out for the invention. They have a plan laid out for the invention. And everything that you see in this government, in this world, is a plan. And they're studying the ancients of history that also laid a plan to build pyramids, to build Timbuktu, to build Luxor and Lemuria and all those type of things. It's all a plan. Enjoy your plan. What you're going to do with you. All that I've said about rituals and magic and all that stuff, what is your ritual that's going to enhance you to be better? What is your magic that's going to enhance you to be better? All that I've said. It's not to scare anybody. I didn't talk about destruction and all that because the earth has been going through that for millions of years. Whatever. Bring it on. But are you able to navigate and mitigate and do what you have to do and still stay on a positive vibratory energy? Because as we're moving in from the 7-year cycle to the 8-year cycle, it's going to be very important because both 7 and 8 are mental health numbers. And as we're going into the number 8 cycle, 8 is also a health number. Remember, like I always said, the even numbers in numerology, including 9 is the finality, is the ending. Because if you don't take care of your health from 2, 4, 6, and 8, the 9 is going to initiate and end things. It'll either shut you down, put you in the hospital, lay you out in the bed, or lay you out in the bed of worms. It's as simple as that. But it does start manifesting from way back, and then it starts to become. So by the time you get to that cycle of the 9, you have to pay attention. Or by the time you get in the cycle of the 2-year cycle, or the 4-year cycle, the 6-year cycle, or the 8-year cycle, all the odd numbers are transitory numbers. Those are initiates. Those are the ones that initiate what you need to do. Although the even numbers are intuitively warning you about your health, it's now time as you're going into the odd number cycles, you gotta initiate and make sure you make things, or it can transform, or it can help you to, what's the word for that? Because nine is an odd number, but 9 is considered a health number to certain numerologists because it deals with the ending and the detoxification of something. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. On Saturday, September 23rd from 2 to 8 p.m. at the Alkaline Oasis in Brooklyn, Baba Ashra Kwesi and Mira Kwesi returns to Brooklyn, New York after 4 years. Get your early bird tickets right now by texting 347-496-1022. Remember, they'll be teaching about the ancient history of Africa, Kemet, and also they're going to touch on Cleopatra. So get your tickets, 347-496-1022. Did you ever wonder if your birth date holds information about your destiny? Why you keep seeing the same number or several numbers? Welcome to Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated. I am your host, King Simon. Numbers are not here to control you, they're here to give you guidance. It's time for you to be able to read the numbers. Hey, this is King Simon. Remember, make sure you go to my website, kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com, or Linktree at King Simon the Numerovator. Get all 4 of my books, and of course, that's the Numerovator for mental stability. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Numbers are simple, children's health is important, and no promotion is bad promotion. Just spell my name right. Make sure you get them now on all my links. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. Go now. Some people think that this esoteric knowledge is for the rich and powerful, when in actuality, the so-called 85% has a spark in them that if it is sparked through numerology, astrology, motivation, whatever, it will raise them up from an 85%, maybe to a 10%, and eventually they become the 5%, the poor or prosperous righteous teachers. You gotta understand that this knowledge is not just for one class of people. We gotta get out of the class. It's the Numerovational Session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022, and get my books on Amazon now.